It's a cold Wednesday afternoon and you are watching NMH at 1, a lunchtime news update of news-making headlines in Namibia and beyond. In today's broadcast, we share local community stories, international headlines, sports updates, and economic news with me, your lunchtime companion, Aina Raizakweyo. Headlining today's show. No deal to sell the Grove Mall to Zimbabwean investors. 14th sporting event for non-teaching Ministry of Education staff take place. Jackal attack one-year-old boy in Luderitz. Stick around for these stories and more. In today's midday news update, Namibia has been experiencing very cold temperatures lately, and while the meteorological services says the thunder showers are expected over the next few days over the southern part of Namibia, rain and hail, even snow has been spotted in some locations such as a settlement known as Helmeringhausen, which is located in the Karas region in Baseba constituency. We do hope that you are keeping warm as we bring you more stories after the break. Stay with NMH at 1. Getting into today's visual news clip. It has been in the news that the Grove Mall is up for sale. However, Atterbury and management of the Grove Mall has confirmed that there is currently no deal to sell the property to Zimbabwean investors. Yolanda Nell has more.
Reports that Zimbabwean investors are ready to sign on the dotted line to acquire the Grove Mall in Windhoek is unjust. According to JP Duncan of the Grove Mall management, all the information published in the Zimbabwean report last week is devoid of truth. However, he confirmed that there are talks, but those talks are only in the beginning phase. He added that as soon as these talks become more concrete, all relevant stakeholders, including mall tenants, will be informed. This was reiterated by Armand Boshoff, chief executive of Atterbury, who currently owns the mall. He said they were approached by a possible investor and they sent through their information sheet to them that is publicly available on their website as well. The Herald in Zimbabwe published that various financial institutions are in the process of brokering a massive 1.8 billion Namibian dollar deal involving the acquisition of the Grove. According to Boshoff, they had no formal in-person meeting where any of these information has been discussed, nothing on how much they are interested in acquiring or at what price. The Herald reported that the two institutions involved are Stratus Capital Partners, an asset management firm, and Bart Sandner Markets, a newly established Harare-based financial advisory and asset management company. According to Duncan, he could not confirm if these institutions are in fact who the mall's parent company is in talks with. A spokesperson of Bart Sandner Markets told Namibia Media Holdings that they currently have no official comment on the deal. Boshoff said Stratus reached out to them, stating that they want to invest in SADC and wanted more information on the Grove. According to him, they are the proud owners of the Grove and Dunes Mall in Walvis Bay, and they are committed to their 30 employees currently working for them in Namibia. According to a current tenant who wishes to remain anonymous, should the mall be sold, they feel there should be no impact on their business if the new owners keep everything as is. Their rental and lease agreements and budgets were based on their business plans, and they signed contracts for a 5-year period. If no changes are made, then there will be no issues. If changes are made, especially to the rental agreements, it may be considered a breach of contract. The Grove Mall was co-developed by Safland and Atterbury and opened in October of 2014. In 2018, Atterbury announced that they took over the total shareholding of the mall. A year later, a name change from the Grove Mall of Namibia to simply the Grove was announced.
The 14th sports event for around 900 non-teaching staff of the Ministry of Education from around the country took place in Otjiwarongo on Monday. Desiree Gasses spoke to Deputy Minister Faustina Kali about the event.
My name is Faustina Kali, the Deputy Minister of Education, Arts and Culture. This week is a very important week to us. You know, after I have been going through COVID-19 for the past 2 years, many things happened and we lost a lot of our colleagues in education. Now we have this big event in Otjiwarongo about the sport. But in this sport, it's not everybody in education is taking part. We took specifically non-teaching staff and secretaries, everybody within education. But they are from all our 14 regions, so that they come here and then we will do the athletics, we will have a sport like soccer, netball, volleyball, all this. And as they are so confined in their working environment, sometimes it causes stress. Therefore, when we create a platform like this one, some of the stress will be released. And they communicate to each other. What is good of this event? Think about colleagues who are staying in Zambezi, for example. They haven't been in Karas, but they talk to each other as colleagues over phones. However, this is now a platform for them to meet. And the traveling, when they came, they didn't know some of the places, historical places. When they go back, they know Namibia better also. Like in Otjiwarongo now, they can go and visit the crocodile farms, and then they can also look at the fashion museums which recently opened, and they share all the experience from one region to the other. At the end of the day, let them compete for a region who will be the winner to take the next event. We will appreciate if they will really enjoy this. You know, when it comes to sports, we want them, to do this sport within the rules of the sport. And when they do that, it will give them also now the opportunity when they go back, the stress is to do their work within the rule of the public service also. And I hope they will enjoy it. So we came to open this whole event officially and being with them, and so that they can feel we care. Namibia needs them. Let them serve the Namibian people while enjoying what they are doing. Thank you.
On the shelves right now are some pretty good reads for a cold afternoon such as this one. But if you have not had a chance to grab today's papers, NMH at 1 will fill you in with what is headlining Namibia's daily newspapers after the break. Inside today's daily newspapers, Namibian Sun narrates the horrific story of a 1-year-old boy from Luderitz who was attacked by a jackal at his home earlier this month. Luderitz resident Meredith Giwas was getting ready for work while the children were playing soccer in front of the yard of the house, and his son Adriano was running back and forth to get the ball. When the toddler went to the gate, went to the gate to collect the ball, which was open, he was attacked by the jackal, after which the toddler's brother ran inside to call for help. Giwa said all he recalls is seeing a lot of blood and his son's right ear hanging from his head. Members of the community chased the jackal but failed to catch it as it ran into the mountains, according to his narration. The SWAPO think tank has suggested that government continue on its path to fiscal consolidation to allow the private sector more participation in the economy. This is reported on the Namibian Sun, page 3, which explains that the recommendations are contained in a policy paper titled Post-COVID-19, Reviving the Namibian Economy, which forms part of the series of papers authored by members of the party's think tank. In view of the constrained fiscal escape and high government debt, Namibia's growth recovery will be significantly driven by the private sector. Thus, in the short to medium term, fiscal policies should continue to restore fiscal stability through the ongoing fiscal consolidation process and hence assist the private sector to lead growth. A recommendation read. The think tank also recommended that government's effort to raise money post-pandemic should include sources outside the private sector. The Republican leads with a murder of Dutch-born Ronald Mussolini in Swakopmund on Monday afternoon. He was shot twice in front of the house he and his girlfriend are currently renting, and police have found an unknown amount of cocaine. A friend calls the killing of Mussolini an assassination. The police investigation continues, and by yesterday, no arrests were made yet. Investigators are asking the assistance of police to trace the suspect. Moving on, the man who caused an uproar in Kunene region with his footage of elephant last week, according to Republican, says he has never been banned by conservancies in the area after complaints were lodged against him. The man, who calls himself Jan Kunene, has removed the footage from Facebook, but it is still available on YouTube. Jan Kunene says after fruitful talks with conservancy management, he is now waiting for the necessary permission from the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, for which he has applied. Residents and environmentalists were concerned about the possible negative impact on the behavior of desert elephants in the area. The Sandpaper project that sees Namibia marine phosphate attempting to mine phosphate at sea continues to be questioned by especially the fishing industry, with Mati Amukwa, the chairman of the Confederation of Namibian Fishing Associations, having dug into Chris Brown, the CEO of the Namibian Environmental Chamber. The Algemeine Zeitung on its front page delves back for 5 years and reminds its readers of various stages and arguments presented during these many years in an attempt to allow their readers to judge the situations for themselves. Over the past years, the Tourismus Namibia shows, which is part of the NTV, has often reported about giraffes, which, contrary to popular belief, are actually endangered in many parts of Africa. The Allgemeine Zeitung on page 2 takes a look at the Giraffe Conservation Foundation and what they had to tell us. We'll be right back. We'll be right back with more news. Let's continue with our news right here at NMH at 1. The Namibian leads with former Education Minister Katrina Hanse Imara, who is eyeing the SWAPO Party Deputy Secretary General at the forthcoming SWAPO elective conference later this year. After 4 years in political wilderness, Hanse Imara is planning to return to politics. In July 2019, Hanse Imara was found guilty of corruptly using her position as the then governor of the Hardap region by altering the original list of the mass housing beneficiaries for the benefit of 2 of her relatives in December 2014. She was then sentenced to a 24 months in prison or pay a fine of 50,000 Namibian dollars. The Namibian reports that the sergeant who allegedly traveled with a Palapala farm heist mastermind Emanuela David has been criminally charged for corruption. Sergeant Hendrik Ngede, who is attached to the Police Tourism Protection Unit, is one of the 5 Namibian men accused of stealing the $4 million from South African President Cyril Ramaphosa's Palapala farm. He will appear in the Noorduwer Magistrate Court on the 15th of August along with another co-accused. A United Kingdom headquartered company currently contracted to provide ground handling service at the Hosea Kutako International Airport has refused to hand over the reins to a joint venture between Paragon Investment Holdings and Ethiopia Airlines. This is according to the New Era, which further reports that the Menzies Aviation has now dragged the Namibian Airports Company to court, where it is challenging a decision by the airport authority to appoint a joint venture between Paragon and the Ethiopian Airlines. New Era's page 3 reports on the University of Namibia's response to students who have been complaining over restrictions imposed on their internet data usage, which allegedly limits their access to other sites, YouTube, and other social medias. The institution, through their spokesperson, has noted the concerns and responded that management is engaged in discussions to work out a feasible solution to students' concerns. Alpha Namibia Industries Renewable Power Limited is keen to reduce Namibia's heavy dependence on imported power by boosting local production. These sentiments were shared by the firm's board chairperson Meg Hengari and managing director Ialo Yanangolo in their 2021 annual report. This is reported by NMH's economic focus publication Market Watch, which shares that according to Hengari, ANIREP believes this can be achieved through participation in MSBM and the Namibia and Botswana government's initiative of solar major projects of 2.5 GW times 2, as well as the Namibian government-driven green hydrogen for export. Has Namibia hit the jackpot with the latest oil discovery? The new discovery may help Namibia double its gross domestic product by the year 2040. More on this in our economic news after the break. Stay with us.
Africa Good Morning is a current affairs program that brings you the latest from Southern Africa and beyond. News, economics, sport, weather, interviews, and so much more. For any advertising or news-related queries, contact AGM at synergy.com.na. Africa Good Morning, bringing Africa to you.
In today's economic news, Namibia expects its biggest oil discoveries since independence to help double its economy by 2040. Jennifer Kamoli, chairperson of the National Petroleum Corporation of Namibia, said in the Bloomberg TV interview. Total Energies in February said it had made a significant oil discovery off the coast of Namibia 3 weeks after Shell announced a find of the Southwest African nation. Consultants Wu McKenzie estimated the combined recoverable finds at almost 4 billion barrels. At peak, these two discoveries could bring $5.6 billion to the very small economy. Total Energies and Shell executives have warned that the discoveries still await an appraisal stage to accurately determine their size. The $11 billion economy is banking on the discovery to boost its budget and create more jobs in a nation with one of the world's largest unemployment rates. With countries and companies pledging to hit their net zero targets around 2050, Namibia has about a decade to develop and make the most of the recent finds. The oil and gas industry is also known for lengthy developments, particularly in areas that don't have established infrastructures. Namibia plans on reaching production by 2028 if the process is accelerated. The country also sees a massive opportunity in green hydrogen, Kamoli said. Green bonds are being considered to fund projects that use renewable energy to produce green hydrogen for export. In our next story, Bank BIC is reportedly the only bank in Namibia that has never made a profit since operation started for the 2021. That loss was a 147,733 Namibian dollars per day. Its recently released financial statement shows. The Namibian newspaper reports that the bank has never made a profit since banking operations started in 2015 and now has a 218 million loss which has accumulated since. The trail of losses started in 2015 with a 6 million Namibian dollar loss which grew to 23 million Namibian dollar loss in 2017. In 2018, the loss skipped further up to 26 million and up again in 2019 to 45 million Namibian dollars. Despite the losses, the bank continues to receive cash injections from shareholders, and in 2021 it had received 121 million Namibian dollars. This was not the first bailout for the bank. Released financial statement shows at the end of 2021, the bank boosted 488 million Namibian dollars balance sheet, while the loan book grew to 244 million Namibian dollars from 193 million Namibian dollars recorded in 2020. Cash at the bank at the end of the financial year stood at 129 million Namibian dollars, supported by a healthy inflow of 69 million Namibian dollars received from the bank's depositors and 46 million Namibian dollars from other financial institutions. The full 2021 financial statements are still not available on the company's website. However, abridged statements are published in the local media. We'll be right back with economic indicators. We'll be right back after the break.
Careers Bistro focuses on the movers and shakers in the corporate world. It takes the content of the Careers Hub that is inserted every Friday in the 3 NMH dailies, Republikane, Namibian Sun, and Algemeine Zeitung, to viewers on social media. This show is broadcasted on NTV, oneup2.com, and cross-shared on the following Facebook platforms: Careers Hub, The Republikane, Algemeine Zeitung, Namibian Sun, and Namibia Media Holdings. Careers Bus Show focuses on car interviews, career motivational videos, the ups and downs of different careers, keeping in touch with business and more. For career-related content or advertising queries, please contact zone@synergy.com.na.
AgriMonitor is jou weeklikse landboukundige program wat jou die jongste nuus in die landbouverwante bedryf en onderwerpe wat daaraan gekoppel is, bring. Vir enige advertensie of nuusverwante navraag, kontak agrimonitor@synergy.com.na.
Thank you very much for watching NMH at 1. We do apologize for that technical difficulty. Let's continue with our economic indicators. The Namibian dollar has dwindled against these major currencies, and $1 will now cost you 15 Namibian dollars and 99 cents. Letshego Holdings Ltd stocks are now trading at 3 Namibian dollars, a 0.70% increase in price. Stock at Paratus Namibia now cost 5% more on the NSX, while Trustco Holding stock are now down in price. Brent crude oil price have dropped by 3.78%, while most other commodities have gone up in value. After the break, we take a look at Burkina Faso in our African news segment. Thank you for watching NMH at 1. We now take a look at news from our neighboring countries, and then we will later extend to the rest of the globe. The Letshego Mounted Police Service is under fire for allegedly shooting and killing 2 student activists who are part of the group protesting against the reduction of student grants at the National University of Lesotho last week. The protest on the 16th of June was sparked after National Manpower Development Secretariat cut students' monthly stipend by more than 50%. As a result, 2 students are now shot and killed, while numerous others were injured and arrested. Speaking to News 24, Advocate Mokitimi Tsoane from the Human Rights and Access to Justice Department Transformation Resource Center said the action by the police were in violation of the UN principle on the use of firearms by law enforcement agencies, while student activists spoke to News 24 said police opened fire on them without warning. What happened on that day was unfortunate for us students. Such repression and violence from the state actors has no place in the modern world, said Students' Union President Tumo Tsatsanyane. Police The police called the incident painful and said they could condemn what transpired and had instigated a full investigation into the matter, while also asking for forgiveness. The European Union station in Lesotho called on police officers responsible to be brought to book. In our next story, Burkina Faso Army has ordered civilians to evacuate to large military interest zones in its northern and southeastern regions ahead of the anticipated operation against Islamist insurgents, it said. The announcement was made late on Monday with few details about how long people have to evacuate, where they should go. All human activities that risk exposure to the effects of the military operation, which will be conducted shortly, are prohibited, said the Commander of National Operations, Lieutenant Colonel Dide Bomoni, a state TV. A period of time will be granted to the residents' population to reach more secure areas. The West African country has been battling an insurgency by militants, some linked to Al-Qaeda and Islamic State, since 2015. More than 1.85 million people are already displaced within Burkina Faso because of the fighting. The announcement followed an attack in the north on the 11th of June and killed over 100 people and displaced 1,000 more. In our next story, Malawi's President Lazarus Chakwera has stripped his Vice President Saulo Chilima of all his delegated powers. We'll be right back shortly after the break. I do apologize.
Choose your flex package with Paratus today. Sign up for ultra-fast fiber with the convenience of mobile LTE. That's 2 products in one bundle. It's new, it's one bill, and you can stay connected in more than one location.
For more information, visit paratus.africa/NA.
Always prepared. Paratus.
The Evening Review is a daily interview-based talk show that dissects and expounds on current affairs as they occur in Namibia. The show aims at reaching Namibians of all age groups who seek better understanding of the state of current affairs in the country. This show is broadcasted on NTV, 1up2.com, and cross-shared on the following Facebook platforms: Namibian Sun and Namibia Media Holdings. The Evening Review focuses on interviews, latest news, and up-to-the-minute current events. Contact evening@synergy.com.na. Evening Review, unpacking today's pertinent issues.
Thank you for staying with NMH at 1. Now let's move over to our international news. A powerful earthquake in Afghanistan killed at least 40 people and injured 60 others in areas bordering Pakistan, with the toll expected to rise, officials said on Wednesday. We call on aid agencies to provide immediate relief to the victims of the earthquake to prevent a humanitarian catastrophe, government spokesperson Bilal Karimi tweeted after a 5.9 magnitude quake hit several bordering Pakistan during the night. Mohammed Amin Huzaifa, head of the Information and Culture Department in Pakita, one of the provinces hit by the trauma, said that the toll is expected to rise. Government officials said they would soon release details of casualties and damage caused by the quake. Photographs posted on social media showed several heavily damaged mud houses in remote rural areas. Afghanistan is frequently hit by earthquakes, especially in the Hindu Kush mountain range, which lies near the junction of the Eurasian and Indian tectonic plate. In our next story, 2 Americans captured in Ukraine while fighting in Kiev's military were endangering Russian soldiers and should be held accountable for their crimes. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said in an interview released by NBC News on Monday. They are soldiers of fortune and they were involved in illegal activities on the territory of Ukraine. They were involved in firing and shelling our military personnel, endangering their life, Peskov said. When pressed on what crimes the American had committed, Peskov admitted they were specific offenses that the specific offenses were not yet known, but claimed that they would not be covered by the Geneva Convention on Prisoners of War. The Kremlin representative said that the soldiers are not in the Ukraine army, so they are not subjected to the Geneva Conventions. After the break, we bring you local sports stories.
In Business 7, you get news on current economic, financial, and business matters in Namibia. The weekly show features interviews with experts and in-depth analysis of burning issues in a way that caters for ordinary Namibians and business connoisseurs alike. We crunch the numbers that matter, decipher statistics that shape Namibian lives, discuss smart money, and explore the impact of global development locally. Money makes the world go round, so catch us on NTV, oneup2.com, and the Facebook platforms of the Namibian Sun, Republikane, Algemeine Zeitung, and Namibia Media Holdings. For news-related or advertising queries, please contact B7 at synergy.com.na.
Let's have a look at what is trending on our local sports scene. Senior national football team coach Colin Benjamin has expressed happiness with the way young players are stepping up to the table during their training sessions. The newly appointed Brave Warriors head coach called up a 31-member training squad for the upcoming 2022 Council for Southern Africa Football Association Cup set for Durban, South Africa in July. The 31-member training squad has already begun their training. Now, in our next story, Coach Crystal Kotzi of the senior national women's rugby team has said Namibia lacks experience at international level, but she expects their performance to improve going forward. The national women's rugby team is currently in Cape Town, South Africa, competing in the Rugby Africa's Women Cup alongside Zimbabwe and South Africa in Group A of the competition. In their opening match on Sunday, Namibia lost 0-72 against Zimbabwe. We'll be right back with the international news after the break. We are back right here on NMH at 1, and here is the international sports scene. Write us off at your peril. That was the warning from Welsh coach Payne Pivak ahead of his side 3-test tour of South Africa, which starts next week. While some have already written the Welsh off, especially after their loss to Italy in the final game of the Six Nations. While some have already written them off, especially after their loss to Italy in the final games of Six Nations and their poor fortunes at club level, where none of their sides made the playoff round of the Vodacom United Rugby Championship. Pivak is confident that the team will take on the Springboks and that they are able to show a different side of Welsh. In our next story, history beckons in Camberley on Saturday when Griquas and the Puma contest contest the Carling Currie Cup final. For the host, it will be 52 years since they last hosted the famous trophy. Therefore, the Pumas, this will be the first step into the unknown, never having come this close to tournament glory. After the break, we bring you highlights. You're watching NMH at 1, and if you have just joined us, here are some of our top highlights. The Lesotho Mounted Police Service is under fire for allegedly shooting and killing 2 student activists who were part of a group protesting against the reduction of student grants last week. A powerful earthquake in Afghanistan killed at least 40 people and injured 60 others in areas bordering Pakistan, with the toll expected to rise, officials confirmed earlier today. The senior national football coach, Colin Benjamin, has expressed happiness with the way young players are stepping up to the table during their training session. And on that note, we've come to the end of this edition of NMH at 1. Please do remember that NMH at 1 plays every weekday at 1 p.m. And please do stay with us for a compilation of regional review.
Welcome back, viewers, to Regional Review. My name is Monique Adams, and I am your South correspondent for Namibia Media Holdings. Today, we're celebrating World Positive Media Day. The day has been created to change the perspective and status quo of everyday media consumption, with a drive to make all news and media outlets a beacon of inspiration, positivity, and joy for one day. Positive Media Day, with the belief that the world is being ill-represented by the news and shared media. So, with Positive Media Day, I hope you take this day to share and spread positivity and joy. So let's get right into today's show. First up in our news segment, with the Koi Span rally that's fast approaching, we got to speak to the organizer Rikus, and this is what he had to say.
Rikus Vermeulen hier van Kois, die organiseerder van die jaarlikse Koi Span Rally. Ons sit hierdie jaar, dink ek, is ons 37ste jaar wat ons hom aanbied. Daar was 'n jaar, so 2 jaar terug met COVID wat ons 'n jaar geskiep het. Maar en vir hierdie jaar, ons hou dit gewoonlik elke winter, elke eerste naweek in Julie. Oor al die jare vir hierdie jaar het ons die eerste keer dit in November maand gehou. Dus toe die COVID reëls nou so 'n bietjie verslap het, toe laat dit ons toe om dit net vinnig aan die einde van die jaar te doen, net om die suidekampioenskap in die gang te kry. Maar wat hierdie jaar aanbetref, die 1ste en die 2de Julie, die Vrydag is nou vir die manne met die regte resieskarre wat meeding vir 'n plek in die suidekampioenskap. En die Saterdag is meer soos 'n fun day. Jy weet, dan kom die ouens in en dis nie so stresvolle situasie nie. Ons het 'n duinklim kompetisie, ons het quarter miles, waar die manne so 'n bietjie hulle karre te mekaar kan opwen. Ja, en elke aand het ons na die Vrydag en selfs na die Saterdag het ons by die Boerevereniging saal het ons 'n prysuitdeling. Lekker pryse, lekker sponsors. So ja, ons is baie geseënd met goeie sponsors wat al baie jare saam met ons kom. En ja, dit is die mense kom kamp, hulle kom van heinde en verre uit die Transvaal uit, onder PE, bo uit die noorde uit, baie mense natuurlik van die kus en van Windhoek af en dan local ouens ook. So ja, dit is die mooi beskrywing vir dit is georganiseerde chaos. Lekker stof hier in die pan met die kerkse mense, die NG kerkkois wat vir ons kos maak binne in die pan, die tannies sit daar met die pannekoeke in die afvalpotte. En dan by die boerevereniging self, is Kois Boerevereniging host vir ons die etes in die aand, en dan natuurlik die drankies, en hulle hanteer ook die kampeer area. So ja, ek dink dis dit, is daar iets anders wat ek vir jou nog kan verder inlig?
Ja, as 'n drywer is wat hierdie video nou kyk, hoe kan, en hy stel belang om deel wees van hierdie rallyreis, hoe kan hy aansoek doen, of wat is die proses?
Want ons het 'n WhatsApp groep, 'n Koispan Rally WhatsApp groep, waarop die inskrywingsvorms is, die program vir hierdie jaar, hoe die 2 dae se tye gaan of se tye werk, wanneer die wegspring is, wat die formaat is. Maar ek dink die maklikste is maar op Facebook te gaan, want al daai inligting is daar ook op. My kontakbesonderhede, my vrou se kontakbesonderhede wat die verblyf nie goed aanbetref, want dis mos nou maar 'n klein rural dorpie. Die hotel en al die ander plekke is klaar vol bespreek, maar ons het iDream Africa bring hulle tente uit Windhoek uit. Hulle maak 'n groot tente dorp, ons ablissie, stortgeriewe, daai goed is alles 100%. So daar's meer as genoeg blyplek. Jy kan op jou eie ook kom kamp, baie lekker kameeldoring, skaduwee kameeldoring kampplekke. En ja, dan is daar natuurlik die tente dorp van iDream Africa.
Well, that looks like so much fun. I will definitely make a turn in Kois to experience the rally feel. Now we head over to Luderitz, where we got to see the newly renovated lighthouse of NWR. So let's take a look at the tour.
Hi, my name is Nelson Ashipala. I'm the manager for corporate communications, online media, and MICE, which basically stands for meetings, incentives, events, and so forth. That is for the Namibia Wildlife Resorts. Welcome to our resort. That is the lighthouse. Here we have our beautiful rooms.
Just tell us more about...
So with these rooms we had an interior designer who actually assisted us to make sure that we get basically the best look for our rooms. I actually think she did a very good job. As you can see, we actually can't theme it. We just went for something luxurious, something cool, something hip, and something current. So we are happy, and hopefully our clients that will be visiting these rooms or this resort that is now the lighthouse, they'll also experience what I'm experiencing right now, and that is the look and so forth. Stand behind, so I'm not sure my beautiful.
Twin bedroom.
So this is the twin bed. You know, sometimes we travel with our kids, with our family, so one can always come in and experience this luxury within our rooms with the twin beddings. Again, we say it is the same thing that we have led up from the main bedroom up into here.
What a beautiful space to share with friends and family. Please, I will definitely make sure that when I go to Luderitz again, I book myself in the NWR Lighthouse. So now we head over to an unfortunate incident that took place a week ago in Luderitz, where a 1-year-old boy was attacked by a jackal. This is where the incident took place on the 9th of June 2022 on a Thursday morning around 9 and 10 o'clock. The house is across the Magistrate Court in the Bay Road Street. Adriano and his brothers were playing in this area when the jackal entered the gate and attacked the 1-year-old boy. Currently, he got 5 stitches and rabies shots immediately when his father, Luderitz, took him to the hospital.
Ay maki ay nani.
Sorry, Papa.
Sorry. Kek.